Trump himself lies consistently, persistently. So do the MAGA Republicans that are backing him up or that are staying silent in this moment.
We're heading to Chicago because we want to save Chicago. Do you know they had over 4,000 people killed in Chicago over a short 4,000 people. And I have to watch this slob of a governor stand up and say that, well, everything's okay. We've got it under control. They had 4,000 people murdered over a very short period of time.
Governor J.B. Pritzker and President Donald Trump on Friday going back and forth about the issue of public safety in Chicago. This as over the weekend, the Seventh Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals denied the Trump administration's emergency appeal. Good morning. It's Illinois in Focus Daily, each and every weekday morning with you. I'm Greg Bishop, editor of Illinois at the Center Square. And you can wake up with us here and get the headlines in your inbox. Go to thecentersquare.com and get the newsletter. All right, so let's take a look at Attorney General Kwame Raoul on X posting a statement regarding the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals order regarding deployment of National Guard in Illinois. He says the court's order today, and this was on Saturday, keeps the troops off the streets of Chicago, Broadview, or any other community in Illinois. This is a victory for our state. This is a victory for the state and local law enforcement who know their communities and who protect the rights of their communities to speak truth to power. So that's the Illinois Attorney General releasing that statement over the weekend. After Thursday, the federal district judge ruled in favor of the state to get a preliminary injunction, a temporary restraining order against the Trump administration from implementing the National Guard. And that was Thursday when that was issued. Friday, after the Trump administration appealed to the Seventh Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals and putting an emergency motion to address this TRO, the federal appeals court said no, they're not going to do that. And what that means is, if you look at the U.S. Northern Command's official website here, and this is where they're updating operations such as when a president deploys the Guard, they give kind of operational updates. And the mission statements laid out and what they do for federal protection missions. And on Friday, they said the Title X National Guard soldiers in both Portland and Chicago are not conducting any operational activities at this time. Our soldiers are conducting planning and training, but not engaging in any federal protection missions, operational activities. We have no additional information to provide. That's after last week. They said that Texas National Guard and Illinois National Guard, 200 and 300 approximately. So you've got around 500 soldiers that were going to be put into the status of federal protection mission in Chicago and in Illinois. So that was last week, but as you can see, the court order obviously changing things for U.S. Northern Command. So here we are. We've got the issue of whether or not the Trump administration is going to be allowed to use the Guard. And it's right now in the appeals court, and we'll see what happens in the district court and just how fast this may go. Because of, I'm sure, the Trump administration talking about exigent circumstances, things happening on the ground. We're going to hear from the president, who spoke about this briefly Friday. But first, let's hear from the governor Friday morning. He held a news conference about schools and blue ribbons, and after the news conference took questions, and he said that he was happy about Thursday's federal district judge's order, saying that the Trump administration is not allowed to or doesn't have the justification to call in the National Guard.
I honestly was very hoping that we would see a result like this. As you know, it's a temporary restraining order, so there'll be a full-blown trial about what the outcome might be. I think the TRO will probably, or has been, appealed. So we'll see, but I'm pleased at the outcome, and I was hopeful that this might take place. So we do not, therefore, have Texas National Guard or Illinois National Guard or California National Guard, which are here, deployed anywhere in the city of Chicago or the state of Illinois.
So the order coming out, the Trump administration blocked from using the Guard in Illinois. And during that hearing Thursday, and our reporter Jim Talamonte was in there. If you caught the weekend edition of Illinois in Focus Daily, well, we were talking while Jim was in the lobby of the court. So he kind of spelled out how this played out in court. And when you read some of the other information out there about the state saying that the Trump administration has no justification, and some of the justification they've used, like protesters with guns clashing with federal officials. Those charges have been dropped, and a variety of other circumstances that they said wasn't enough justification, and the judge sided with the state on that. Governor J.B. Pritzker said that the Trump administration is not credible, and he says that a federal judge in Chicago said that much.
Well, I think it's confirmatory. It's one more opinion, but an important one, a federal judge, about the truth or falsehoods that are put forward by the national administration. Trump himself lies consistently, persistently. So do the MAGA Republicans that are backing him up or that are staying silent in this moment. The lies should not stand, and I think having, again, an independent arbiter like a judge call it out for what it is. We have seen that ICE and CBP have lied when we've seen incidents of shootings, for example, in the city of Chicago. We've seen that twice now, where they tell a story that turns out later, thanks to our free press, we find out it was false. So that's just one example.
Now, Pritzker obviously has his perspective, and the Trump administration has their perspective. And one thing that you learn as a neutral reporter is police reports tell one side. There's always another side to a situation, and in particular, Pritzker's pointed to an instance where a federal official did open fire on a woman that allegedly was trying to use their vehicle as a weapon against the federal agent. And when it happened, DHS put out statements saying that the federal agent was dragged and sustained major injuries, but then some evidence came out to show that his leg was roughed up and he was dragged a little bit, but it wasn't as severe as maybe DHS had characterized it when it first happened. Then you had the other instances of some of the protesters found with firearms, essentially being not charged. So these types of things, as they play out in courts, you're going to get all sides thrown out there. But obviously, this is still pending in courts. And Friday, President Donald Trump reiterated that he wants to make Chicago safe.
We're heading to Chicago because we want to save Chicago. Do you know they had over 4,000 people killed in Chicago over a short 4,000 people. And I have to watch this slob of a governor stand up and say that, well, everything's okay. We've got it under control. They had 4,000 people murdered over a very short period of time. There's not a city in the world, I don't believe, that can claim, you hear so much about different, I won't, embarrass anybody, like by saying Mexico City or by saying anywhere in Afghanistan. There's no place like that. And then I have to listen to the mayor who's got a 5% approval rate, maybe less. He's an incompetent man. And the governor's an incompetent guy. He's a guy that was thrown out of his family business like a dog. And I know his family very well. And now he's a governor. And when I watch him trying to say that it's okay, we have crime under control, I lost 4,000 people over a very short period of time. I believe it's like 7,000 people were shot but didn't die. But 4,000 people died. And then he gets up and talks about how it's not a problem.
So the Trump administration clearly focused on public safety. But one thing that Governor Pritzker has pointed out, he says that Trump's talking about using the Guard for public safety, but the official filings say that Trump's using it to protect federal personnel and federal property. Doesn't that also work into public safety? I guess I'm just trying to understand the delineation there, right? I mean, public safety versus what public safety? Which bucket are you putting it in, with a sublabel of protecting federal assets or just in general terms, public safety? So obviously that's an ongoing debate that is going to continue. But as this plays out, you have video evidence all throughout the weekend showing, especially on Friday, protesters clashing not with federal officials. I'm sure there's still a lot of that out there, but you've got video showing protesters clashing with the Illinois State Police. This is just some of the on-the-ground stuff from the streamers out there. BG on the Scene was there, obviously. You've got others, freedomnews.tv, showing Illinois State Police clashing with protesters. And again, this is not federal officials. These are local police clashing with protesters in Broadview. Governor J.B. Pritzker, he talked about this issue he has concerns with, and that is protests that are peaceful, he says, having agitators or what some would consider provocateurs getting involved in the protest. And Pritzker warned against that.
I only have concern if peaceful protesters are somehow disrupted by people who are not being peaceful, or by ICE. And so that's why we've got Illinois State Police, we've got local police, why we've got county sheriffs out there. We're trying to protect the protesters, the peaceful protesters. Anybody who isn't peaceful, is going to be arrested. But I encourage people to peacefully protest. I have been a peaceful protester many times in my life. I think this is a good thing. It's very American to do it. And so I encourage it. I think it's a good thing. And I think that the results of it will be, hopefully, that a lot of elected officials especially will hear them and act upon their voices.
Again, we'll continue to monitor this as it unfolds, especially with whatever reaction we get from Illinois legislators who come back to session Tuesday. So it's a lot going on here with Illinois, and that's why you need to wake up with us here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Get the headlines in your inbox at thecentersquare.com, and get this podcast wherever you get podcasts. Just search Illinois in Focus Daily.